I went to the haunted mall on day 14 and found a creepy doll. It started as a dare. The mall had been closed for over a decade, abandoned after a fire gutted part of the building. Yet, for the last 13 days, I'd been going back every night. My friends thought it was hilarious to challenge me, saying I wouldn't last 2 weeks exploring the so-called haunted mall. But I wasn't afraid of urban legends or dark corners. At least, not at first. The first few nights were uneventful. The mall was just a hollow shell of its former self, with its shattered skylights and graffiti-covered walls. I would wander through the empty stores, documenting the decay for the blog I kept. But by day 7, I started noticing things. A faint humming sound that seemed to follow me. The occasional flicker of movement in the corner of my eye. By day 10, I couldn't deny something was off. I found strange items scattered around the mall, a child's shoe in the food court, a handwritten note that read, "Don't play with her," and a trail of marbles leading into the old toy store. I was spooked but stubborn. I wasn't going to quit now. Day 14. The final night came, and I decided to explore the farthest corner of the mall, the section that had been most damaged by the fire. As I stepped into the wing, the air turned colder. My flashlight beam danced over charred walls and cracked tiles, and I felt an overwhelming sense of unease. Then I saw it. The toy store stood untouched, its faded sign hanging precariously above the door. Inside, rows of shelves were still stocked with dusty games, puzzles, and stuffed animals. The air was thick with the smell of mildew and something sweeter, like rotting flowers. And there she was. Sitting on a shelf in the center of the store was a doll. She was porcelain, dressed in a delicate blue gown with lace trim. Her blonde curls were pristine, and her glass eyes seemed too lifelike, too aware. I don't know why I picked her up. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the strange pull I felt, as though she was waiting for me. The moment my fingers touched her cold surface, a soft giggle echoed through the store. I froze. "Hello," I called, my voice trembling. No answer. But the giggle came again, this time louder, closer. Locked in. I turned to leave, but the door I had entered through was gone. In its place was a solid wall of scorched wood. My flashlight flickered and died, plunging the store into darkness. "Don't leave me," a childlike voice whispered, and I felt something brush against my leg. I dropped the doll, but it didn't fall. Instead, it hovered in the air, her head twisting unnaturally to face me. "You're not going anywhere," she hissed, her voice no longer sweet but sharp and venomous. I stumbled backward, tripping over a pile of old toys. The shelves around me began to shake violently, spilling their contents onto the floor. The doll floated higher, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "I've been waiting," she said, her porcelain lips moving. "For someone to play with me. Forever." The escape. Adrenaline surged through me as I scrambled to my feet, desperately searching for an exit. A faint glow appeared in the corner of the store, an emergency exit sign that hadn't worked in years. I bolted for it, ignoring the sound of tiny footsteps chasing me and the high-pitched laughter that filled the air. The door wouldn't budge at first, but I threw my weight against it, finally bursting into the cold night outside. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. When I looked back at the mall, the toy store's window was glowing faintly, and I could swear I saw the doll watching me from the glass. The aftermath. I never went back to the mall. But the story doesn't end there. 2 days later, a package arrived at my doorstep. There was no return address. Inside was the doll, her blue dress as pristine as ever, her glass eyes staring up at me with a knowing smile. I burned her that night, but I still hear her giggle sometimes, just as I'm about to fall asleep.